internet, and welcome to another video. And you have joined me with the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. The RAV4 basically means it's a recreational activity vehicle, and the 4 stands for the 4-wheel drive. But this is pretty much a 4-wheel drive, but kind of an everyday kind of car that you can use in your daily commute. And let's start finding out how this car is. Let's start off with the front look. Now, front is pretty bold and stylish with a lot of things going on, and let me go around first. And first, you get the front 2 LED headlights and also LED fog lamps as well, and then they are also daylight running lamps inside it, and they work pretty well. And then you get this big huge plastic grille and also the logo, which is blue, and you know, if the logo is blue, then it's a hybrid car from the Toyota brand. And also there is this another slit in between. It is the design feature, and then I don't know, nothing happens really. It's just the like a step out here, and then it's just a plastic bit that they put in between, which looks a little too shabby. And then continuing at the bottom, you have this whole big front grille in the bottom, and then you also have this plastic chrome piece. To be honest, this looks a little too flashy in my opinion, because the front looks very sorted out, but otherwise this makes it like a really shout out from the whole, you know, front. And then that is why this chrome bit is a bit too much in my opinion. But then anyways, continuing, it's a bit too windy, I'm sorry about it. And continuing, you also get the 4 sensors, parking sensors in the front. And also, if you see, it's very similar to a Honda when you sit inside, and you get this hunch, which when you sit inside you would see them noticeably from inside as well. There are railings on both the sides, and also there is a panoramic sunroof. Yes, you get a panoramic sunroof with this one. Continuing on the side, you get first 225 by R18 tires, and then the rims are 18 inches. The finishing that they've given here is in the chrome finish, and then that in my opinion is a little too much. And then when you continue, there is hybrid badging, and also you get the power foldable mirrors, and also there is no blind spot indicator or anything sensor inside it. And also continuing at the back, there is a smart keyless entry system. So you press, and I don't know if you can hear, but then it opens up, and then you can also close by tapping on the handle, and then you get some chrome details out here as well. And also at the back, there is this nice little window at the back, so the visibility is pretty good. Moving behind, there is this tail light cluster which extends right up to the rear quarter of the vehicle. And then there are some kind of design, I don't know, aerodynamic or something that they've put it on the headlights as well. I'm pretty sure it's an aerodynamic feature, and so that is why they put it out here. And then the side is pretty simple in terms of otherwise, but there are also some boxy arches. Now, previous generations used to have the round arches, but now Toyota has started to put the kind of squarish arches, and that is why you can see quite a bit of height as well. So usually on normal cars you would find a frame that is visible under the door, which is your chassis frame, but then Toyota has been very clever about that design, and what it has done is hide it with the door itself. So when you see, this is the cladding that has been used to cover the door, so your doors are longer, and what happens is your frames are never dirty, so whenever you step out, your pants are never dirty. Now, continuing at the rear end, as you saw, there was a swooping design feature, and as a result of that, there is quite a small back end, and also the rear window, if you see, has become quite small. So the rear view from the mirror is pretty tiny as well. And after that, continuing, you also get the blue badging, Toyota hybrid badging as well, and then you get 2 tail lights. They are standard, and they do not come as an LED, but they come with the halogen bulb options. Now, the tailgate is remote operated, or there is also a button which you can use to open it, and it will beep as well for a while it is opening. And inside you can see there is a lot of space where you can put your 2 big bags and 2 small bags, and there is also this partition that you can use to divide the compartment. And also one very cool feature that Toyota has done is there is no lip in the boot, and that is why where the sliding in and out your luggage is going to be pretty easy because of that, and it's pretty much flat, like there is no lip at all, which is really clever. In order to close the boot lid, there is a button out here, but if you want, you can do is pull this lid and then the car will take care of the rest. Now step inside and you are greeted with a lot of luxurious materials for sure, but then first things first, let me start off with why has Toyota put like 4 different colors everywhere in this interior, which is this tan, sort of tan, then this beige on the roof line, and then the black in the dashboard, and then there is this brown sort of detailing everywhere around near the cup holders and where the charging stations is, and then there is this tray on both the sides, and then all of that is brown, and then that sort of gives a very confused look from inside because there are just too many colors going on now. But otherwise, let's start off with the doors and the plastics in first. The plastics are all soft touch plastics everywhere, and then they are pretty decent quality as well, and also the center console is pretty well and robust in terms of its make. And continuing with the steering wheel is telescopic and adjustable in terms of height, so you can do whatever you want. I can just play along like this, but then okay, I should just stop. Okay, anyways, continuing, then you get all the media controls and the cruise control on your steering wheel, so that is pretty neat, and that's pretty much carried forward from the Camry Hybrid. And then you get a big dashboard in front of you, which has a nice little like quite a big screen in the center, which gives you info about your driving and also how you are doing, how the batteries are doing, how the four-wheel drive system is doing. You can also see how much power it's being given to all the 4 wheels, and because it's a 4-wheel drive system, so this is quite a neat sort of feature that you get. And if you are a nerd, then this is really going to be a lot of fun inside when you start fiddling around inside the menu. Now there's this another cool kind of complaint, and that is that there are just way too many beeps that keep happening even when you open the door or when you close the door, or if you haven't worn the seat belt. After the dashboard, now we come on to the aircon, and the air conditioning is pretty straightforward. You get these dial knobs on both the sides, so it's a dual aircon, so even for the passenger and the driver, they have an independent aircon. You can control it with your vents, and also you can close them up. You also get cooled seats on both the sides, and you can adjust them. There are 3 levels of it, like 1, 2 and 3 when you press the button, so you get that as well. At the bottom you get this nice little chunky gear knob, and it's got the car has basically simple modes like the drive mode and the sport mode, but apart from that there are a ton of different modes which we'll be discussing when we go on for a drive. Coming to the infotainment system, the infotainment system is quite big, as you can see, and quite in your face, but the idea behind that is that when you're driving the car, Toyota doesn't want you to get distracted, and that is why it's right in line of your view. You also get the manual controls around as is with Toyota, but what they've done is they've removed the volume knob and the tuning knob, which you get in the European models. In the European versions you still get the knobs around, and that is still, I think, the feature that we all need. I don't know why Toyota removed the feature from this. It has a lot of features inside. You can do right from your navigation to setting up finer controls, and also you can change your channels from the screen itself. Now that is a little challenge because the options are too small, and sometimes I have just sort of clicked on some other channels which I didn't want to, but then there are no buttons, physical buttons to change the channel. Instead, that it is on the screen, and while driving it may be a little distraction, although you have controls in your steering wheel as well, but still you still need sort of physical buttons. Even for a passenger, there are chances they may miss out when clicking on the options. Continuing with the seats are super comfortable, and they are the most luxurious seats in this sort of range that I have seen. The passenger seat is normal manual one, but the driver seat comes with 6-way controllable mode, so which is electronically controllable, and also the seats are pretty wide and comfortable as well. Now bear in mind, this car is pretty wide as well, so the space is also converted inside as well, and you find a lot of space inside. In terms of storage space, the car comes with a lot of storage around on the door bins, and you can put quite a big 1 liter, 1.5 liter big bottles out here on both the sides as well. And also you get the storage in the front as well, which is your handrest as well. You get this tray, and you also get a lot of features, storage inside as well. You also get 2 cup holders in the front and 2 cup holders in the back, in the handrest at the rear. Now in the front you get 1 aux cable, 1 USB, and also one 12 volt 120 watt socket as well, and same the socket is available inside as well, and also one more socket in the back as well, but no USB for the rear passenger. The center control has your parking brakes and also the hill hold feature, or the normal hold feature, which during your traffic lights you can put it on, and then it will just keep the brakes on for you, which I use a lot, and it's a very neat feature. There are 5 different modes that you get from the car, which is the trail mode, eco mode, sport mode, normal mode, and EV mode. Those different modes can be used while driving on different conditions, which we'll be discussing during the drive as well. At the back, so the first thing, this door wouldn't open more than this, so the angle is pretty small, but it's all right, you can still get in and out quite easily. But otherwise there is quite a bit of space, if you see, for my legs as well, and the seats are pretty much backwards in terms of the adjustments, and you get quite a bit of space behind as well. And also there is no kind of bulge in the center, so you can easily sit 5 people. So you get a handrest and with 2 cup holders as well, and there is an aircon at the back as well, 2 AC vents, and again there is a charger, which I mentioned before, which is a 120 watt 12 volt charger. Also you get the mounting points for your child seat, which is your ISOFIX, and they are available on both the sides of the seat, so on your right hand side and on your left hand side as well. But otherwise the quality is pretty premium. And also one cool feature is the height of the seats is pretty low, so getting in and out is pretty easier, as you can see, and just get in. But it's not like those other SUVs where it's just too difficult to climb inside and outside, but in this it's fairly easy. So starting off with, this car comes with a 2.5 liter dual overhead camshaft 4-cylinder engine, which produces 176 brake horsepower, and it produces 220 Newton meters of torque. And apart from that, the electric motors, they produce about 118 brake horsepower and 202 Newton meters of torque. The engine is exactly the same, and the motor is exactly the same from the Camry Hybrid, and just put same thing into this car as well. Now with this 2.5 liter engine and the electric motors, the is mated with a CVT transmission, but not any CVT transmission, but an eCVT, an electronic CVT. Now it's quite a bit of complicated system to understand, but in short, there are planetary gears and mechanisms that make sure that you get a constant speed when you are driving, and that is a reason that when you press the throttle, the engine RPM goes to almost till your maximum RPM, and that is why it becomes a little shouty, as you can see. And now what the car does, or the computer does, is that when you floor the throttle, the engine RPMs are kept constant and the gears are being changed. Now why is it done? Because it's probably mentioned that it is done so that to get the maximum efficiency out of the entire package, and that is why the computer just calculates what speed to go at and when to change the gears, and hence that is why the eCVT. Throughout the journey when you're driving, there is this weird sort of electronics calculation that is going on, and you can hear the electric motor being engaged and disengaged. And also there is this electric whining noise which initially is quite evident when you drive it, but otherwise it's, if you get once you get used to it, it's fairly simple, and it's not that of a big deal. The power delivery is quite smooth, but the car is about 2,230 kilograms, 2.2 tons, and that is what you feel in this car. And when you're driving it, you sort of tend to feel the heaviness of the car, even though it's pretty much the same package from the Camry Hybrid, but then somehow in this it's a little noticeable, and there is a bit of sluggishness while pulling off. This car comes with 5 different modes, which is your normal mode, your eco mode, your sport mode, and your EV mode, and also there is something called as a trail mode. So I tried the car in the trail mode, and honestly I couldn't feel any different. But also, if I put the car in the sport mode, the displays change, they become red to tell you that it's in the sport mode. There is also a G sensor, like a gravity sensor, which is like pretty cool to make you understand that it's all become all sporty now. But to harden the steering wheel becomes a little harder, and also the throttle response increases. But otherwise, I don't think there is quite a bit of a difference in terms of the sport and the normal mode. But again, there is also an EV mode, but you need the battery charge, the charge enough to use that EV mode, and then only the car will allow you to drive in the EV mode. And also, if you are below 40 kilometers, the car will automatically drive in the EV mode. I am able to get around 17 kilometers per liter from this car, and considering that this is an SUV, and to get this much of mileage, and it comes with a 55-liter petrol tank, but if you combine both of that, you get a total range of about 600 to 650 kilometers, and that is pretty good for an SUV this big and this size, which is 2.2 tons. The electronic steering is a bit too fuzzy, I would say, because initially when you start from the standstill, the first quarter rotation of a steering doesn't really move the wheels. But if you're at a speed, and if you change the steering, rotate the steering wheel at the same exactly the same degree, then you would have quite a bit of steering angle. But now I think that is to do with the clever kind of electronics which are doing their work of, you know, changing the steering angle based on your speed. But at the lower speed, it's quite a bit of a tussle, because you have to go through a lot of rotations to get a fair bit of turn. But the turning radius is quite small in compared to other SUVs, which is quite a good thing. Now the suspensions are on the softer side, and that is probably the reason why you get a soft ride. But then with the softer suspension comes the roll as well, and this car has a bit of a roll if I am going at some speeds, and that is not a very assuring thing, because usually I get the point that, you know, you have to have a fine balance between the comfort and the cruising feature. But then sometimes it feels a tad too on the softer side, and that is why there is quite a bit of roll. Now the car comes with 4 disc brakes, and these work quite well, but the pedal is pretty kind of sensitive initially, and then there is this weird sort of noise from the pedal, which I will let you hear now. The brakes are pretty sensitive and they work quite well. A point to mention was that this car comes with a wireless charging as well, which you see underneath your AC controls. There is a sort of an area where you can put your phone, and the phone will start charging if it's capable of wireless charging. This car comes with 2 front airbags for your passengers and the drivers, and there is also side curtain airbags. There is also a knee airbag for the driver. There is a curtain airbag for the driver. There is side curtain airbags for the rear passengers as well. You get the tire pressure monitoring system. You also get the traction control on this car, because the car this big and it definitely needs the traction control as well. And also this car comes with a single camera reversing camera, and the quality on this camera is just amazing. I think it is one of the best cameras that I have seen in this segment, not even just in this segment, but in higher segments as well, because the quality of the camera is crisp, and also to do with the fact that the screen is pretty amazing in terms of its pixel, and there is no glossiness, there is no sort of, it isn't too matte or it isn't too glossy, so it is just about the right combination, and with the right setting it works brilliantly, and it's super smooth. And one thing that Toyota has done is just worked on the infotainment system a lot, which is quite evident, and that is why the whole system is quite smooth if you open the maps, and it's quite amazing in terms of its rivals. So the car comes with a four-wheel drive system. Now how this four-wheel drive works is traditionally it's a two-wheel drive system, but suppose the wheels at the back lose traction, or when you're at an incline, so the car is pretty clever, and the computer will calculate that you need the rear wheels, power from the rear wheels as well, and it will make sure to do that. And that is quite a neat feature, which you can see it in your dashboard as well. There are settings which you can change, and you can see which wheels are being powered at what time. So that was pretty much it for this video. Now you may ask, who should buy this car? Now if you are looking for a proper kind of SUV, then you might well go for this as well and shortlist this. It's a daily family car where you can put in a lot of stuff, and also you can drive around. Plus it's a hybrid, so it gives you a lot of efficiency as well. On an average you still get about 16 to 17 average as well, and that is pretty good in terms of what you get out of this package. But otherwise it's a pretty stylish car, it's pretty robust. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions related to this car, make sure to write them down in the comment section below, and I will reply to them as well. Anyways, give it a thumbs up if you like this video, and make sure to share and subscribe for more videos to come, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye.